Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacqueline at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hi, red.olaughlin here. This is Talking Heads show on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. If you have missed any of our episodes in the past, go to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to find them there. Today is session number 4 out of 4 on stress. We've talked about a number of things over time, and I'll do a very quick summary here in just a second. But today our primary focus is, how do you handle stress? Once you are in a situation, what do you do? So, Dr. Jacqueline, would you please start the slideshow? Thank you so very much. So a quick summary. We talked about over the last 3 weeks several things. We know that stress basically comes from our brain straight to our kidneys, and then we have adrenaline and cortisol. And we talked about that in a lot of detail. This prepares you for that fight or flight response that you may need. We know that stress is not all negative. There's positive stress and negative stress. We know that it affects us physiologically, behaviorally, emotionally, cognitively, a lot of things in there. We know that we have acute stress. We run into that all day long. We can have episodic acute stress or chronic. Each one gets a little bit worse. And left unchecked, we can actually probably even evolve into a panic attack or an anxiety attack. And we've talked about these things. And we also spent a whole session talking about a lot of myths, over 24, almost 30 different myths talking about stress and itself. But stress is essentially, it's an awareness issue. It comes from the brain. We see something, we become aware of something, and that stress is something that happens to us. It's a perception. It may be real, it may not be real, it doesn't matter, but it's what we perceive. And that perception, whether it's stressful to other people or not, doesn't make any difference. It's our perception. And if we let it go, it's not stress. But if we reach out there and we grab a hold of it and we don't let go of it, that's going to affect us down the road. And there are things that we can do to counter those things. And we're going to talk about those today. What are the appropriate actions that you can take? And sometimes you can take them right now, and other times, boy, that was a tough day. And you can do it afterwards. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what can I do now and what can I do later. And there's probably a couple of those, more than a couple of them, that you can do literally now and later both. But before I actually get there, there's some things you can do in advance to diffuse or deflate a potential situation. And that's what I call expectations. If you expect something to happen and it happens, and that expectation was a good one, generally speaking, people are relatively happy. However, if you expect something to happen and it didn't, that level of happiness drains. And so let's say today, I'm expecting to do a very good show on stress. And I'm focusing my mind on that. I used to do this all the time years ago as a speaker. I'd 10, 15 minutes before I get out in front of the audience, I would run through my check off list of things that I need to do to be ready. But one of the last things I do is I visualize a super happy audience, people clapping, people coming up and saying, hey, great. And so I'm pre-positioning my body and my mind into a situation of success. And I'm going to say 99 times out of 100 or more, I would end up meeting my own expectations and everything would be fine. But if you expect, I'm going to forget something, I'm not going to, those things have a tendency to happen. So what you expect happens a lot of times. So if you are going to your mother-in-law's, if you're having a problem with whatever, you got to go to work and there's somebody there you don't like, you got to go deal with your Department of Public Safety to get a new driver's license. There are a lot of situations that we can adjust ourselves in advance, mentally speaking, so that we can minimize that level of stress that may be popping out there. Next slide, Mr. Dr. Jacqueline, please. We want to avoid stress. That's the first thing. If you know something's happening and it stresses you, avoid it. That's literally the first thing you can do. Let's say your spouse has a tendency at times, not all the time, to do something that irritates you. You recognize what it is. Separate yourself from that. If it's a situation you can't separate yourself from, you're in a what we used to call in Germany a stau. You're in the freeway and everything's stopped. It's a parking lot. Some things you can't avoid. As soon as you can get out of a meeting, get away from everybody. There's a lot of things you can do to avoid a stress. Whatever that stress is on your life, avoid it. These are things you can do right now. Now, you may not actually be able to leave your boss or your wife or your mother-in-law, but it's one of those things that as soon as this is over, that is over. I remember a situation where the lecturer says, somebody, let's say somebody really bothers you a lot. I said, yeah, I got one of those. Write that person's name on your hand, look at it, really visualize that person, and then just throw it away. And then look at that name as it disintegrates in the air and becomes nothing. And I did it just because I was part of the audience. And about 2 weeks later, I run into this person. It was actually my wife's boss, one of the bosses. And I met her at an event, and I'm saying, I honestly don't feel the intensity, the little bit of rage I had for some things that were going on. And I thought back to that thing, and I saw my hand, and I just saw that I can't believe something as simple as writing a name on my hand with my finger and then throwing it away actually worked. But for me, it worked very, very nicely. You usually hear people say, take a deep breath. Well, that is one of those mechanisms. And what we're doing with the stress is we're actually distracting. We have something here and we want to distract our thought process as those chemicals start going on down into the lower part of the body. So we distract something. We take a deep breath, and whether you held it for 2 or 3, doesn't matter. A lot of times I'll tell people, okay, take a deep breath, hold it for 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes is unrealistic, but there's a little bit of humor in there. But again, a deep breath is one of those things you can do, even if you're with your boss or in some situation, especially in a traffic jam. Those are things you can do. One of the things that I strongly recommend is have certain times of the day that you respond to phone calls. That's why you have an answering machine on your phone. Allow it to answer those things for you. And then you respond whatever it may happen to be. So, but if you're distracting your day to answer a phone or to answer a text because it comes in right now and you think you need to do something, you're allowing an outside world to influence what you have going on. The same thing can be applied to the computer screen. You got something going on, and if you're like me, you're probably going to get on there. Oh, let me just check the news. Let me just check this. Let me check the email. Let me check my social media. And before you know it, that one computer minute's 30 minutes. And now you're 30 minutes behind on something else. That stress sits in. Another thing you can do is just say no. Well, you just can't say no, but you can learn to say no. And what I mean by that is somebody comes to you with a request that you typically, I'll probably do that. Say, I'm not sure I can handle that right now. I'm inclined to say no. Give me a few more minutes to think about it, but more than likely I'm going to say no. I just need to really assess what else I have going on and where you're at, where you're asking me, can I fit it in? But you need to start adjusting where it's not just a no, but a pleasant no. Somebody saying, yeah, I'll consider it, but more than likely the answer is going to be no, because if you start disrupting your day and doing other people's things, again, it takes away from your time. Your time is what you cannot get back. And likewise, procrastination. When I'm on social media and I'm only there for a couple of minutes and I look at the clock, whoa, where'd all the time go? Well, I'm procrastinating from doing something else. I'm getting further behind on whatever project that may happen to be. So if I know that I'm procrastinating and it's something that I can avoid, then that's something that I can do to work for. And that's something I can do pretty much right now. Okay, I would really like to just kind of relax for 10 minutes. Okay, fine. Take your phone, set 10 minutes on it, let the binger go off, and actually do that 10 minutes. But when you have stuff that needs to get done, get it done. Another thing you can do is called mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. What does that really mean? Mindfulness. Well, just sit back and kind of close your eyes for a second. What do you hear? What do you open your eyes? What do you see? What do you feel? Do you feel a breeze? Do you feel the heaviness of your clothing? Do you feel your feet being cramped in your shoes? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What's going on around your body right now? That's mindfulness. Those are things that all of a sudden you're taking your mind away from whatever else is there and you're concentrating it on something else. Next slide, Dr. Jacqueline. Another thing we can start doing immediately is limiting any kind of alcohol or stimulants. Now, stimulants may be anything from a cup of coffee to apple pie to any kind of comfort food, cigarettes. A number of things can disrupt our physiological bodies and minds from each other. And when you start doing that, all you're doing is putting a band aid on that stress. The stress is still there, it hasn't gone away. All you're doing is, just hold it in the bands. I'll get to you later. But it's building. Stress does not leave by itself. You have to physically do something to get rid of it. So it sits there, and today it's here, tomorrow it's here, it's tomorrow. And each day it gets a little bit bigger, and then the pot gets a little bit wider. And when you start doing things, you get home from work, oh, it's been a stressful day. You take a beer, well, maybe another beer, well, maybe a third beer makes you really get to middle of state 3 in a hurry. And those things are things that we do to compensate, but we could just as easily do some kind of stress reduction, relaxation method that would accomplish the same thing. Then you could really enjoy that glass of wine or that beer without having to use it as a substitute or a band-aid to get rid of the stress. Sometimes it's something as simple as just asking for help. Uh, you say, things are going on right now, and then just say, I just need a minute, and I want you to know I'm really stressed out. There's some other things going on in my life, kids, family, job, work, car. Fine. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to explain it to everybody, but just say, I might need to call you later just for some help. If you're available, I just want to talk to you about some things. All you're doing is you're sharing something with somebody. You're asking for help. Now, you may get around to calling them, you may not, but you're actually involving them in your situation, and you're sharing that a little bit. It kind of deadens that responsibility that you have on your shoulders. Along with mindfulness, you can engage your senses. Um, what do if I'm looking out right now, I'm looking at my computer. I have the lights all around me. I have my books in front. What am I seeing? What am I feeling? How are my legs feeling? My arms? There's your senses. What am I tasting? Can I smell anything? There are a lot of things out there. And again, you're distracting your brain from the stressor, and you're allowing it to focus on something else for a brief moment. I tell the story all the time about, if you're in the car, you're at a stoplight, you're 4 or 5 cars back. You probably, if everybody works, you'll get to the light fine. But if somebody dawdles, you're going to be there for another whole series of lights. And you're in a hurry, you really can't afford to sit through another light. Well, one of the easiest things you can do to settle that stress down is to smile. Smiling and laughter, they work in reverse. You cannot have a positive and a negative thought in the brain at the same time. So if you have something up here negative, you're going to see it in your eyes. Your whole facial expression is going to change. Your body expression is going to change. But if you start right here and you have that smile, and all of a sudden you're forcing the muscles to go back in a different direction, and all of a sudden you're finding that you can't hold on to that negative feeling very long. And the bigger the smile, the longer the laugh. I mean, in presentations I do, I stand up there in front of the audience and you can do a forced laughter, you can do a real laughter, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you may get into a comedy channel on YouTube, but there's things in there where there's laughter. Those things are natural stress reducers. Practicing self-talk. Those are things telling us how good we are, the things that we are really, really good at. And we may not hear them very often, but all of a sudden, if we say them out loud, and we say them, like I say, okay, Red O'Laughlin, you're so-and-so, or Red, or Mr. O'Laughlin, you kind of bring it from different directions. But those are things, and again, do it in present tense because it's something that is present tense and your subconscious mind understands present tense. Those are things you can do, and that distraction from the stress is there, but you're building yourself up mentally. You can have certain times of the day. You tell your answering machine on the phone, I'm only going to answer the phone, or I'll return your phone calls after 3 p.m. People know when to expect your phone call, your return. Same thing with emails. I'll get the emails in the morning, but I'll set aside 3 to 3:30 to respond to emails and phone calls. Sometimes we're just dehydrated, and whatever stress is out there actually imposes a stronger impact on us because we're dehydrated. Just a simple drink of water is okay. I find myself doing this. I'm punched over the uh, keyboard a lot. I'm out there looking. My neck is, and sometimes I just have to kind of stretch back, relax, readjust my feet, readjust my butt, get my back, my shoulders. So readjusting your posture goes a long ways in order to make things work. Next slide, please. Thankfulness and gratefulness. These are two things that are very similar. We're grateful. It's a show, it's an action, it's a show of expression that something was there. Some people separate and say, well, gratefulness is something that I have innately in me. Thankfulness is something that people have given me and I'm thankful for it. But in reality, gratefulness is an action, thankfulness is more of a feeling. But it's some of those things that we don't necessarily practice very often. So you should be, it's like a random act of kindness. These are things that we should periodically just, what am I thankful for today? Well, I just got over my second bout of COVID. I am super happy that I don't have COVID, but I'm super happy that my body is responding positively. And I'm very, very grateful for that. Another one you can do is think before you respond. Some people just automatically come. My dad was one of those just instant, whatever it may happen to be. But sometimes you just give me a second. Let me think about it before I give you an answer. Practice a little bit more restraint in what you're doing. And conversely, if somebody really and truly did something to you wrong, let's reassess what's going on. Is that really that big a deal in your life? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if you hold everybody to the same level of a grudge, then maybe you need to readjust your meaning of grudge. It's not worth it. From a psychological, physiological, emotional perspective, holding grudges are not going to be what you really need. That's not there. Sometimes you need to express your concern. Somebody's irritating you, and you say, "Hey, can you hold it for just a second? What you're saying, I disagree with. It's something that I don't feel comfortable with." Let them know so that they're aware of the same level that you have. Sometimes you can have just a little piece of chocolate. It's comfort food, yeah, but I'm talking about just a little piece, and maybe just a single bite. Tea has some amazing chemicals in it that just act to kind of calm the body down a lot. Uh, Acknowledging your stress, just dear, I would love to do this, but I'm just a little bit stressed right now. Can you give me a few minutes to calm down? I don't normally advise people chewing gum because the saliva has a tendency to get in and dilute your digestive acid in the stomach so that when you eat something, you don't have as potent stomach acid as you need. But sometimes chewing gum is one of those things that will calm somebody down. Closing your eyes, just a simple matter of closing your eyes. You're separating yourself. Everything is dark. You don't see the stress. You don't see the person, whatever it may happen to be. That is one of those things that you can do. Let's go ahead and jump to the next slide, please. Okay, the things we just talked about were the things you can do right now. Some of those you can come back and do later at your leisure. But what are the things you can do? You've gotten through the traffic jam, you got through your boss, you got through the meetings, you're home, you finally to a point where, okay, what can you do to start working off some of that stress has been building up? Stress has a tendency to put weight around our middle. Our guts have about 4 times more fat cells that are perfectly aligned to hold fat from cortisol, from one of the stress hormones. So you start looking at that little extra level of a tire around the middle of your body, that's usually stress induced over time. And I'm talking about over years. Exercise, a great way, probably one of the best ways. And it's just not one exercise. Sometimes just stretching, sometimes balance, sometimes endurance, sometimes high intensity exercise. Don't just do one. There's a lot of things you can be doing. Again, a better diet, making sure you get the things that you need, avoiding the things that are out there. Just More supplements that work very, very well. All your B vitamins, your B5 more so than anything else. The B5 is known as the anti-stress vitamin. Melatonin, vitamin E, vitamin C, magnesium, benzoic acid, GABA. There's a lot of things out there. Go to Dr. Google. There's a lot of things in there. What supplements for counteracting stress? They're there. Uh, More self-care time. These are the things that you do where you actually set aside time to exercise, walk, read, uh, plan a better menu. Take better care of yourself by just giving yourself a little bit of extra time to actually say, this is what I'm going to do today, and go do it. Walking, stretching, we talked about that a little bit. I find reading to be one of the most stress relieving things that I do. And if I just sit down for 5 to 10 minutes and I read something, it may only be 2 or 3 pages, I feel so much better when I get up. I take a nap, usually 7, 8, 9 minutes. I'll set my clock to 9 minutes, and many times I get up 6.5, 7 minutes later, uh, and it's just a mere fact that I've totally relaxed my whole body, and there I'm ready to go again. And the alarm never goes off because that nap, that whatever I took, was just a very, very short one. Sometimes a massage. However, nowadays with COVID and everything, they're not as easy to get, but more of them are open. But it may take you 30 days to get there. So plan your massages accordingly. Next slide, Dr. Jacqueline. I thought I had one. Can you go back one, please? Better exercise. I thought I had one with deep breathing. I'll have to figure that one out down the road. Uh, okay, sorry, my error on that one. Sometimes having a hobby, again, you're distracting yourself from whatever's out there. Whatever that hobby may happen to be, that is just like for me, reading is a hobby. Uh, Hobbies are, puzzles, a lot of different things you can be doing as a hobby, making candles. Just take a hobby, something to distract you from the rest of the world. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, they're all very, very good things you can do. Slow motion exercises. Fragrances, lavender, lemon, rose, rosemary, chamomile. A lot of different fragrances out there are exceptionally good to reduce stress. Sometimes you can just take a lime or a lemon with you up to the office, or if you're sitting there and just smell it. Sometimes just that little bit of citrus will just radiate through your body. Another thing we can do is reduce caffeine. Caffeine for some people works well, so for other people it doesn't. For some people it disrupts our sleep. Generally speaking, I can have a big glass of tea just before I go to bed. It has no effect on my sleep whatsoever. But other people, caffeine will keep them awake. Sometimes you want more time with friends. I'd say friends and family, but sometimes family is more of a distractor or a stressor than not. But sometimes you have some good friends. You may not have time with them, but you can get on Zoom with them. You can call them on the phone. A lot of things you can do. The mere act of hugging, just give somebody a hug. That is amazing for the amount of stress that just kind of drains from the body. Cuddling is another one. Um, there's a lot of scenic TV out there where you get some really nice music in the background, and I can watch Hawaii, I can watch Switzerland, I can watch a number of different places, and for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, I'm transported to someplace else. I'm calm. It's amazing. Scenic TV has today. Most of it's available on YouTube. Just go in there and put scenic TV, and you'll be amazed what's available. More than amazed. Listening to some music. It might be something like thunder rumbling in the background, some rain, wind. I love to hear the wind, the coconut fronds and the wind. That's to me a very soothing one. It might be jazz, might be rock and roll, classical music. Ennio Morricone, he's a guy that did the good, the bad, and the ugly. Uh, Excellent. He has so many different kinds of music out there, and I use it for not only de-stressing, but I also use it for charging myself up to get ready to do something. If I got a project, I'm going to do a little bit of writing. I may go listen to about 4 or 5 or 6, 7 minutes of Ennio Morricone, just something in there, and close your eyes. And you just kind of feel that, and you just kind of feel the body building up. It's a good way to release stress. Next slide, please. Deep breathing. Pranayamas, Pranayama, pranayama. It's a Sanskrit way. It's a deep breathing. There's at least 7 basic ones, But go to YouTube. Dr. YouTube has so many good things for stress relief. But I like pranayamas. There are various kinds, but in pranayama, stress relief, and they'll guide you through a specific way. You sit there and you watch the person, the way they're breathing. Sometimes it's what do you call the guy on Star Wars with the deep voice? Um, anyway, my mind is blank right this second. But there are certain kinds where you different breathing techniques, and they'll tell you how to do it, and you'll be amazed, literally in 4 or 5 minutes, how much stress you can relieve just with breathing. Uh, if you have a pet, you heard my daughter's pet just a few minutes ago. I don't know if they described him or not, but pets are very, very calming in the big scheme of things. Guided meditations, again, YouTube's an excellent place to go to. Some people have it on their phone as an app. Some people may have as another videotape, audio tape, but they guide you through. They take you, okay, close your eyes, and you just kind of listen and you do exactly what it says. And then you just get into your breathing and everything kind of relaxes you. Some people may have an imbalance in their work and their home life. Well, look at exactly what you have going on with regard to where is your time being spent? Where are your priorities? Maybe you need to readjust those. A lot of people have problems trying to get quality of sleep. The better you sleep, the better your health, the better your life is going to be. Those are things that if you're not getting good sleep, that's probably one of the first places you really need to concentrate. And there's so many things available on YouTube, on Google, to how to improve the quality of your sleep. Relaxation methods. These are things that you can do. Start with your toes, start with the top of your head. Wherever you start, learn how to relax the muscles in your body. As you relax, just like taking a deep breath and you let it go, you're actually really like relaxing the entire body. And that's what you need to learn how to do. Maybe you need to learn how to do better time management. If you're wasting more time, you're procrastinating, there's probably better ways of doing things. Look and find out what other people are doing and start doing it that way. There's a reason why some people are more successful than others, and maybe just the way they manage their time. Start a journal. Maybe the first thing you want to do is start a journal. What stresses you? What stress did you have today? How did you react to it? How did you feel? Just keep a little journal about what's going on. And you'd be amazed at those kinds of things come back and allow you to actually improve your life significantly. Next slide, Dr. Jacqueline, please. Organization, just like time management, maybe sometimes you just need to reorganize what's going on. Reorganize the top of your desk, reorganize the part of your bathroom, your bedroom, whatever it may happen to be, your kitchen. There are some things you just look at and they just become a stressor because everything's just a jumble. Well, maybe just taking 5 minutes here. Okay, I'm just going to take care of these two square feet on my desk. That's all I'm going to take care of. Take care of that 2 square feet, 1 foot by 1 foot. That's what I want. That's what I want to take care of. This pile over here of bills, whatever it may happen to be, improve your organization. Biofeedback, again, Dr. YouTube, go there. What you're trying to do is just like you're doing with the breath and releasing it. You're trying to lower your pulse, kind of trying to mellow out a little bit. These are things that you can do. But biofeedback, a great, great, great way of being able to be more in touch with what's going on in your body. Finding a mentor. Sometimes a mentor might be something as easy as buying a series of books from somebody, buying a course from someone, just going to YouTube, TED Talks. I find TED Talks to be amazing with regard to being able to find a mentor for certain things. Meditate. Again, YouTube, great place to go. Guided meditation. Once you know how to do it, then sit back there and just do the lessons that you've learned how to do. Maybe something as easy as praying, a long walk. Sometimes being more solutions oriented. Sometimes you sit things and, well, maybe I need to do this. Look at what solutions are there. If just like I look at what causes things to happen in the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking, if you know what causes things, well, maybe you can come out with a better solution. Humor, again, we talked about laughter, we talked about smiling. Those are things that improve your mental outlook, your emotional outlook. Let's go to the next slide, Dr. Jacqueline. Know when to take a time out. Sometimes we get just so caught up in things. We get home, we get involved with other things. Sometimes you just need to take a time out. Maybe that time out is that 10-minute walk around the block. Uh, Reassess what's going on. The lessons that you learned. Are there something that's going on that's changed? There's a lot of things out there, and they change over time. Heaven only knows how many things change with COVID. Look at what was working before, what's not working now, and reassess those things. Work on your self esteem. A lot of people's problems come from how they see themselves. And if you start assessing who you are, what you're feeling, what's good about you, that self esteem goes a long, long ways to re energizing, readjusting, and making yourself better. Um, your goals, your expectations, understanding what triggers you, what really sets you off. And if you know that and you know what's going to happen, you can take measures to counter it. It may be something just as easy as doing a self-taught, go to YouTube and learn how to do a hand or a leg massage, neck, whatever it may happen to be. You have the foam balls, you got things you can put underneath your feet. If you can relax your feet, you can relax a lot of your body. Let's go to the last slide, Dr. Jacqueline. Sometimes you just need to get away from everything. Just isolate yourself. It may not be anything, but just when you go out and walk by yourself, uh, just walk out in the backyard, whatever it is, just get by yourself for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a very long time. Uh, I talked earlier about journaling. Write about your stress. One of the things that I totally recommend to almost anybody, emotional freedom techniques, EFT. Go to YouTube, EFT and stress, type it in there. Brad Yates is one person that I really and truly enjoy. Watch the YouTube, watch 2 or 3 of them, see how they handle. It's the tapping of the various places in the body, and you go through. You do the mantra, you do everything the way they say it, and you're hitting the acupressure points in the body. And as you're doing that, the stress has a tendency just to kind of flow right out through the bottom of your feet. Hot bath, hot shower, cold bath, cold shower. I'm a hot bath, hot shower, not hot bath. I'm a shower person. But when I was in Germany and I started going to the saunas on a daily basis, and I get into hot saunas and I go into what they call a cold dip, it took me literally months to be able to master 45-degree water, get into it for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and be able to. But I would spend an hour in a hot sauna, and I'm talking about hot 212 degrees, and I'd spend an hour in there, and then I come out and I get in the cold dip for 2 minutes. And it's like a light switch went on. Everything that was gone instantly. Cold does an amazing thing. Self-hypnosis, again, Dr. YouTube. Art therapy does an amazing amount of work. You can put art therapy and stress relief into Google or into YouTube. Some people get a lot out of just dancing. There's just a lot of things. If you're my age and you like rock and roll, well, just dance. They don't have to have anybody there with you. But it's one of those things. You're getting your body exercise. You get things going. But those are things that will really and truly transform your body, get rid of stress. Now, this may sound like a silly thing, walk on all fours, basically like a 2-year-old long time ago. But if you start walking like a bear, you're going to find it very difficult, especially if you're anywhere near my age in the mid-70s. But it's one of those things, you're using muscles that you never used before or not used in that same capacity. And that in and of itself is a different kind of exercise. Maybe you only do it for 30 seconds. Then you get up to 40 seconds. You get up to a minute. But it's like planks. It's like a lot of other things that you do. You add a little bit more time to it each time. But these are things you can do, and they handle stress very, very well. Go back. Go ahead and remove the slide there, Dr. Jacqueline. And we're coming to a conclusion for today. But these are things that you can do instantly. You can come back later and do some of the simple ones that you did. The smile it's such a simple one to do, and you don't need to pay anybody for it. It's there. It's free. You can do it all day long. It's hard to maintain a smile for 60 seconds. I'll tell you that right now. You try to do it in front of a mirror, set a timer, and you'll find it's extremely difficult to do. But it's a great, great, great stress reliever. All these things are available on our USA Global TV and Radio YouTube channel. Please go over there and join us in the archives. You can go through the entire series here on stress. I've done other series on various other things. I think in order to complete the next 2 in this 6th series, I'm giving serious thought right now today to the next 2 weeks talking about pain. What causes pain from a chemical perspective in the body, and what can we do about it? There are a lot of things out there. And we don't want to put a Band-Aid on pain so that we do this. It's like an aspirin. Pain's gone, but tomorrow it's back or later tonight it's back. So I'm thinking that might be of immense value to a lot of people. So again, USA Global TV and Radio. And again, I thank Dr. Jacqueline for providing the time here for our Talking Heads program today. Thank you very much, Red O'Laughlin. And if you need me, red.olaughlin.com is a great place to go. I have lots and lots and lots of articles there, again, from the genesis of what's happening in the human body at the cellular level and what can you do about it. Those are things that my passion, and I enjoy sharing it with everyone. Thank you so very much.